After years of COVID shutdowns and industry strikes slowing everything down, television is finally roaring back, and 2026 is shaping up to be a massive year for new shows. From fantasy epics and superhero series to prestige dramas, horror reboots, and wild sci-fi experiments, the TV landscape is about to change in a big way. Today, we're breaking down the most exciting new TV shows premiering in 2026, including long-awaited franchise expansions and bold original concepts. Let's dive in. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is HBO's next expansion of its Westeros-set fantasy universe. Based on George R.R. Martin's Tales of Dunk and Egg novellas, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is set roughly 75 years after House of the Dragon, and about 100 years before Game of Thrones, when the Targaryens still sit on the Iron Throne. The story follows Ser Duncan the Tall, a well-meaning but rough-around-the-edges hedge knight, played by Peter Claffey. He's accompanied by his sharp, secretive squire, Prince Aegon Targaryen, known as Egg, portrayed by Dexter Solancel. Unlike HBO's previous Westerosi series, the source material is lighter. Based on the trailers, expect a more comedic tone. Ahead of its premiere, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms was renewed for Season 2. The Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins stars Tracy Morgan as Reggie, a washed-up former football star attempting a public and personal comeback in this redemption-focused sports comedy. Desperate to repair his reputation, Reggie hires earnest filmmaker Arthur Tobin, played by Daniel Radcliffe, to document his journey back into the good graces of both fans and family. Paired with NBC's highly underrated cheerleading comedy Stumble, the network appears to be chasing its own feel-good, sports-adjacent answer to Ted Lasso. The series also excitingly reunites Morgan with 30 Rock creators Tina Fey and Robert Carlock. Radcliffe's involvement in Reggie Dinkins is particularly promising because when he commits to television, the results tend to be strange, inventive, and unexpectedly heartfelt, as seen on Miracle Workers. That combination makes Reggie Dinkins one of the more intriguing comedy bets for 2026. Love Story is Ryan Murphy's next anthology series for FX, formerly titled American Love Story. Season 1's subject is American royalty, the doomed, media-saturated relationship between John F. Kennedy Jr., played by Paul Kelly, and style icon Carolyn Bessette, portrayed by Sarah Pidgeon. Love Story also stars Naomi Watts as Jackie Kennedy. Murphy's strongest work often comes when he applies his maximalist instincts to real history, as seen on American Crime Story. If Murphy balances intimacy with spectacle, Love Story could become one of his most emotionally resonant and visually striking projects to date. Fans of The Handmaid's Tale, blessed be the fruit. The Testament brings Margaret Atwood's long-awaited sequel to The Handmaid's Tale to Hulu, picking up roughly 15 years after the events of the original novel. The series marks the return of Dowd's formidable Aunt Lydia, this time anchoring a coming-of-age story centered on a new generation of young women navigating the regime's grip. One battle after another breakout Chase Infinity stars as Agnes, the older version of June and Luke's daughter Hannah. Blade Runner 2099 continues the iconic sci-fi franchise with a new story set decades after Blade Runner 2049. Michelle Yeoh stars as Owen, a replicant confronting the end of her life in a future Los Angeles still defined by artificial humans, corporate power, and existential unease. Owen will partner with a human on the run, Cora, played by Euphoria star Hunter Schafer. Inspired by Philip K. Dick's Do Android's dream of electric sheep, the show keeps the franchise's signature visually lush, philosophically heavy, and emotionally restrained tone. Expect a slow-burn exploration of identity, mortality, and what humanity means in a world built on imitation. Crystal Lake is Peacock's upcoming slasher series based on the Friday the 13th franchise, serving as a prequel to the 1980 film. Crystal Lake stars Linda Cardellini as Pamela Voorhees, with Callum Vinson appearing as a young Jason Voorhees. Rather than leaning solely on gore, Crystal Lake is said to draw tonal inspiration from 1970s paranoia thrillers, emphasizing dread, psychology, and slow-building tension. With showrunner Brad Caleb Kane coming off it, Welcome to Derry, expectations are high that the show will balance franchise mythology with elevated horror storytelling. DTF St. Louis is an upcoming HBO dark comedy starring Jason Bateman, David Harbour, and Linda Cardellini. The HBO dark comedy series centers on a twisted love triangle among three adults navigating the disappointments and anxieties of middle age, which ultimately spirals toward one of their untimely deaths. Not much is known about the Steve Conrad-created series, but it was inspired by James Laston's New Yorker article, "My Dentist's Murder Trial, Adultery, False Identities, and a Lethal Sedation." Time will tell if it will be one of Bateman's best roles, but Bateman, Harbour, and Cardellini thrive with challenging roles that balance comedy and darkness. Dutton Ranch continues the saga of the Dutton family following the conclusion of Yellowstone's 5-season run. This Paramount Plus spin-off focuses on fan favorites Beth Dutton, Kelly Riley, and Rip Wheeler, Cole Hauser, as they navigate the challenges of preserving the family legacy, facing danger, loyalty, and the harsh realities of ranch life. The series also welcomes exciting new cast members, including Annette Bening as Beulah Jackson and Ed Harris as Everett McKinney. While more is known about Why Marshals, premiering March 1st, Dutton Ranch is the more direct spin-off which fans are more eagerly anticipating. Elle will explore the early life of Elle Woods, long before Delta knew at UCLA or Harvard Law School. Following a path similar to the Carrie Diaries as a Sex and the City prequel, the show explores the formative years of an iconic character. What, like it's hard? Lexi Mindtree leads the cast of Elle, blessed by Reese Witherspoon to tackle Elle's high school years. Produced by Reese Witherspoon's Hello Sunshine, the series promises a faithful yet fresh take. Little House on the Prairie is an upcoming Netflix original series adapting Laura Ingalls Wilder's beloved books for a new generation. A reboot of the classic NBC series, the show reimagines the Ingalls family's life on the American frontier with fresh casting and modern production values. Alice Halsey stars as Laura Ingalls, alongside Luke Bracey as Charles, Crosby Fitzgerald as Caroline, and Skywalker Hughes as Mary, bringing the iconic family to life. The series offers both longtime fans and newcomers a rich, character-driven drama set against the backdrop of 19th-century rural America. R.J. Decker is based on Carl Hiaasen's novel Double Whammy. Scott Speedman stars as a disgraced former newspaper photographer who reinvents himself as a private investigator, navigating the colorful and crime-filled world of South Florida. This latest book adaptation joins a growing list of series, including Apple TV Plus' Bad Monkey starring Vince Vaughn. While details on the series remain sparse, fans can expect Hiaasen's signature satirical lens and pointed social commentary. R.J. Decker promises a mix of crime, comedy, and sharp observation in the uniquely chaotic Florida setting that defines Hiaasen's work. Spider-Noir brings Nicolas Cage into live action for the first time as Spider-Noir, but not the same character from the Spider-Verse films. Set in 1930s New York, Cage plays a down-on-his-luck private investigator forced to confront his past as the city's lone superhero. However, in this version, Ben Reilly is Spider-Noir. Brendan Gleeson joined the cast of Spider-Noir in an undisclosed villain role. Filming took place in Los Angeles, with black and white cinematography capturing the moody, shadowed aesthetic of classic film noir. The 8-episode series promises a dark, stylish, and character-driven take on the Spider-Man noir comic universe, marking a passion project for Cage, who has rarely worked in television. Stuart Fails to Save the Universe is a high-concept HBO Max spin-off series set after the events of The Big Bang Theory. The show reunites fan-favorite characters Stuart Bloom, Bert Kibler, Barry Kripke, and Denise, but takes the franchise in an unexpected direction, sci-fi adventure. Stuart accidentally triggers a multiverse Armageddon and must work with Denise, Bert, and Kripke to restore reality, encountering alternate universe versions of beloved Big Bang Theory characters along the way. This is the first BBT spin-off on HBO Max instead of CBS, so there will be fewer episodes to tell a much more serialized story. VisionQuest is the third installment in the Loose trilogy, following WandaVision and Agatha all along. The series is helmed by Terry Matalas, 12 Monkeys, taking over from Jack Schaefer. Paul Bettany returns as Vision, who struggles to regain his memory and his humanity after the events of WandaVision. Also in the cast of VisionQuest is James Spader, reprising his role as Ultron, appearing in both robotic and human forms. Matalas has described the TV series as cinematic in scope, with each episode feeling like a different kind of film, echoing the way WandaVision used distinct sitcom eras as storytelling devices. 2026 is absolutely stacked with new television, from fantasy epics and superhero sagas to horror, sci-fi, and prestige drama. After years of delays, TV is finally back in full force. Which 2026 show are you most excited for? Drop your pick in the comments, hit like, subscribe for more TV and movie breakdowns, and I'll see you in the next one.